The Lava HQ is moving to a brand new state. What's in the news with a follow-up on vaping and quotas at the NYPD, and a bunch of reasons why you should move to New Hampshire.
Welcome to The Lava Flow, channeling the flow of information to the libertarian, anarcho-capitalist, voluntarist, and agorist community. Find us at thelavaflow.com. Here's your host, Roger Paxton.
Thank you for joining me this week. Coming to you for the last time from this Lava HQ, from the state that was the temporary home for many native tribes from the east as they were forced westward along the Trail of Tears. Yes, you heard that right. This will be the last time that I come to you from the current Lava HQ in Arkansas. This is the show that will bring you the people, places, and events that everyone in the Liberty Revolution needs to know. You can catch me on Twitter at the Lava Flow Pod. This is episode 22, the A Prickle of Porcupines edition, and it's Tuesday, October 13th, 2015, when we've already had more than 896 people killed by police this year. What's rustling my jimmies this week? You're about to find out. Let's do it to it. So, why is this the last time that I'm going to be coming to you from the Arkansas Lava HQ? Well, if you recall a few episodes ago, I mentioned that my wife and I had signed the Free State Project Pledge. The pledge says, quote, "I hereby state my solemn intent to move to the state of New Hampshire. Once there, I will exert the fullest practical effort towards the creation of a society in which the maximum role of government is the protection of individuals' rights to life, liberty, and property." This pledge is the basis for the Free State Project. Once they have 20,000 signers of this pledge, this will trigger the move, where all 20,000 people will then have 5 years to move to New Hampshire to work towards having liberty in our lifetimes. As of this podcast, they have 17,458 signers, and that number is growing by 1% each month. At this rate, sometime late next year, they will have all 20,000 signers. Already, 1,843 of those signers have moved to New Hampshire, earning the title of early mover. An early mover is someone who has signed the pledge, but decided to move prior to the Free State Project getting all 20,000 people to sign. Jessica and I will be among these early movers when we move to New Hampshire the last week of October. Why New Hampshire? Isn't it cold up there? And it's like way out of the middle of nowhere. The Free State Project team chose New Hampshire back in 2003 because, quote, "it has a low state and local tax burden, a low level of dependence on federal spending, a citizen legislature where state house representatives have not raised their $100 per year salary since 1889, low crime levels, a dynamic economy with plenty of jobs and investment, and a general culture of individual responsibility, independence, and self-reliance." There are many more reasons to move to New Hampshire for liberty, and the Free State Project put out an incredible video called 101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire. I've added a link to that video on the show notes to this episode at thelavaflow.com/22. I highly recommend that you watch it when you get a chance. This is what sold Jess and I on this project. I'll talk about a few of those 101 reasons later in this episode. Now that you know more about the Free State Project, I guess I should explain how we got involved. I've heard about the Free State Project for many years, but never thought that it would be for me. I mean, it's way up in New Hampshire. It's 1,500 miles from home. However, back in May, I began looking for a new job. I applied to jobs in many places around the country. I applied for a job in St. Thomas, Virgin Islands, a few in Austin, Texas, because of the vibrant liberty movement there, and a few here in my home area of Memphis. I also applied for a select few in New Hampshire. One of the jobs in New Hampshire was a perfect fit, and I had a couple of phone interviews with the owner and some others at the company, and then it all just kind of fell off. I assumed I didn't get the job, so I moved on and took my current job as director of IT for a transportation company here in Memphis. A couple of weeks ago, I received an email from the owner of the company in New Hampshire letting me know that he wanted to fly me and my wife up there for a weekend interview for their director of IT position. Since I had just recently started my current job a couple of months before, I had to think long and hard about it, but I agreed to come up and do the interview. Jess and I flew up on a Friday evening, arriving at the owner's vacation home right on the ocean at around midnight. The next morning, I went for a several-hour interview where I met with several representatives from the company. After that, my wife and I had an opportunity to drive around the seacoast area of New Hampshire for a few hours, seeing several of the towns in the area. That evening, we went to dinner with a couple of other representatives of the company. The next morning, when we woke up about 7 a.m., I already had an offer of employment in my email inbox. The offer was substantial, but it wasn't quite where I needed it to be to uproot my family and move 1,500 miles from everything I've ever known, family, friends, and a great job that I had just started 2 months before. After quite a bit of negotiations over the next 2 days, I had an offer that suited my family's needs, so I accepted it and signed the contract. I start that job on November 2nd. While we were in New Hampshire for the weekend, Jess and I just fell in love with the state. Now, this may change come January, February, when there's several feet of snow on the ground, but Jess and I couldn't be more excited to be moving up there to join literally thousands of other liberty-loving libertarians. This will be quite a change from the couple of hundred of known libertarians in Arkansas, with a few dozen of those being active. Sunday of that weekend, before we flew out of New Hampshire, Jess and I had brunch in downtown Portsmouth with a couple of early movers, Mike and Andrea. The brunch ended up being about 3 hours of conversation, which just completely sold us on the entire idea of moving to New Hampshire. Thanks to Mike and Andrea for answering our literally dozens and dozens of questions and being patient with us as we ran those guys through the gauntlet. You guys were great. Thanks so much. Now, our families think we're crazy, our friends are ready to disown us, and our kids are scared to death. But we know we're doing what's best for our family, because Jessica and I feel that this is truly the best chance to achieve liberty in our lifetimes, for us and for our children. As one of my listeners, Michael, said, words to actions. That's exactly right. Be sure to wish us luck. Have you subscribed to the Lava Flow on iTunes or any mobile device yet? Then what's wrong with you? Go to thelavaflow.com/subscribe so you don't miss a minute of the show. And while you're subscribing, make sure to leave me a 5-star rating and review the show to help others find our podcast. thelavaflow.com/subscribe.
What's in the news? The news you need to know from a libertarian perspective.
In a follow-up from last week's news, the FDA is proposing several new rules that will likely shoot down most vaping shops. The rules would require federal approval for most flavors of liquid nicotine juices and e-cig devices because, we can trust the government. Just ask anyone who bought a diesel Volkswagen lately. The Wall Street Journal estimates the approval process would require such extensive data collection for each item that it would cost between $2 to $10 million for businesses. Quote, essentially, the FDA regulation is a guaranteed death knell for over 99% of the companies in the industry, said Gregory Conley, president of the American Vaping Association and Advocacy Group. That would affect the estimated 8,000 to 12,000 vape shops in the United States and the estimated 1,000 manufacturers and wholesalers of vaping equipment. According to Fortune magazine, quote, this year there were roughly 200 bills introduced across 40 states that addressed some aspect of e-cigarette and vapor product regulation. The bills included taxing e-cigs and vaping devices, prohibiting vaping where smoking is banned, prohibiting flavoring and advertising that is intended to appeal to minors, requiring licensing of vaping shops, labeling laws, and child-resistant packaging. Clearly, e-cigs are quickly becoming the new frontier of taxes and regulations, as I talked about on my last show, the Smoke 'em If You've Got 'em edition, which you can find at thelavaflow.com/21. In quotas, we don't need no stinking quotas news, the NYPD and city lawyers got caught destroying evidence in an ongoing class action claiming that cops were using a quota system when they hand out tickets. Records, emails, and text messages, including one that reads, "We missed seatbelt number by 30 last week. Unacceptable," have been shredded and deleted, even though the city agreed to hand over the information over a year ago, according to a letter filed in Manhattan federal court by plaintiffs' lawyers. The plaintiffs' lawyers claim that they were able to discover some documents because they were obtained from third parties' emails, including one NYPD captain writing, quote, "It is ridiculous to have 50-plus hours overtime with only one arrest." But the city wasn't able to produce any of those emails, even after searching, the lawyers said. A letter from the plaintiff's attorney also said the NYPD destroyed or lost documents such as monthly activity reports and materials used for the chief's review before CompStat meetings where the NYPD scrutinizes crime statistics. Quote, "Defendants have shredded and are continuing to shred hard copy documents," the letter states, attributing the information to an NYPD lieutenant and police officers who testified about the activity. In That's One Expensive Sandwich news, a man took it upon himself to make a sandwich completely from scratch. Now, I don't mean that he went to the store and bought some bread and some meat and some lettuce. He actually did every single thing that it would take for one man to make the sandwich from scratch. He grew the vegetables, gathered salt from seawater, milked a cow, turned the milk into cheese, pickled a cucumber in a jar, ground his own flour from wheat to make the bread, collected his own honey, and personally killed a chicken for its meat. The process of making the sandwich entirely by himself cost him 6 months of his life and $1,500 for a single sandwich. Not since Leonard Reed wrote I Pencil has there been anything that shows the inefficiency of doing anything without the benefit of market exchange like this project did. Keep in mind, he had to take a plane to the ocean to get the salt water. He used knives made by someone else. He drove a car to go get the milk from the cow, etc. Had he had to make the plane, the knife, and the car, he would never have been able to complete this project. How was the sandwich? In his words, quote, "Not bad. That's about it. Not bad. 6 months of my life for not bad." You can view the several-minute video of what he went through to make this sandwich on YouTube. It's a good watch. The link is in the show notes of this episode at thelavaflow.com/22. And in a bit of personal news, my family and I are moving to New Hampshire. Oh, wait, I think I already mentioned that, but since I'm going to be in the car driving for 3 days to New Hampshire from Arkansas during the release of the next episode, I will have a very abbreviated episode for you on October 27th. Needless to say, my wife and I have a lot to do prior to moving out of our current home and trying to prepare it for sale, so I'll have plenty to keep me busy and I won't have time to put on a full episode for you guys. I apologize in advance, but the following episode on November 10th will be back 100% to normal. Exercise your free market muscles by going to thelavaflow.com/support and giving a per episode donation of as little as $1 an episode, or use Bitcoin. Get exclusive content, rewards, and help the Lava Flow become fiscally neutral while providing you more content. thelavaflow.com/support. As I mentioned in my first segment, the Free State Project has a great video out called 101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire. The video is free on YouTube, and you can find the link for it in the show notes to this episode at thelavaflow.com/22. I thought I would give a few of the best of the 101 reasons here to give you some understanding of why I'm moving my family 1,500 miles away from our home to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Number 1, no sales tax and no state income tax. This is a huge one financially. I'm immediately going to see a 6.9% raise moving to New Hampshire because I won't have to pay any state income tax like I do in Arkansas. I'm also going to see another 9% raise since I won't be paying any sales tax in the state. This is a huge financial reason to move to New Hampshire. There's also no capital gains tax, no inventory tax, and no machinery tax, which means that products that are created in New Hampshire will be cheaper as well. It also has very low sin taxes in the state. Number 2, eminent domain has been banned in New Hampshire, so you can be confident that your property will not be stolen by the government. Number 3, each elected representative makes only $100 per year and serves only 2 years. And they have the smallest districts in the country, with each of the 400 state legislators only representing about 3,300 people each. More than 20 Free State Project members have been elected to the New Hampshire legislature in the last several years. Number 4, gun rights are taken seriously in the state. The process of getting a concealed carry license is essentially filling out a one-page form and paying $10 every 4 years. There's no photograph or fingerprints required. Open carry is allowed anywhere in the state, with the exception of courthouses and places restricted by federal law. Free State Project members have actually worn handguns into the State House to lobby their legislatures, and they've never been given an issue about it at all. Number 5. There is no mandatory seatbelt laws or motorcycle helmet laws for adults. Now, frankly, I think you'd be pretty silly not to wear a seatbelt or a helmet, but at least New Hampshire realizes its citizens are adults and that they can make choices for themselves. There's also no mandated automobile liability insurance, making New Hampshire the least expensive state to own and operate a vehicle, according to Forbes. Number 6. The state opted out of Obamacare state exchanges and the Federal Real ID Act. They also made same-sex marriages and medical marijuana legal. They also banned automatic license plate readers. I mean, these guys really stand up to the federal government. Number 7. New Hampshire is extremely prosperous. It has the highest median income, the highest disposable income, the lowest poverty rate, and one of the lowest tax burdens in the country. It also has an unemployment rate much lower than the U.S. average. Number 8. Gold, silver, and barter for goods and services are actively traded in New Hampshire. It also has one of the highest adoptions of Bitcoin in the country, with regular stores all over the state accepting Bitcoin for purchases. Members of the Free State Project even purchased a house using Bitcoin. Number 9. New Hampshire is often listed as the number 1 state in quality of life for its residents, such as USA Today rating it number 1 in 2014. This is a huge change from my home state of Arkansas, where we're usually listed 49th, followed only by Mississippi. New Hampshire also has the highest percentage of households that have access to broadband internet. They're the 3rd lowest in the country in road fatalities. They are 2nd in the nation for exceptional health care coverage, and they're the 5th healthiest state in the country. It also has the lowest homicide rate in the country. Now that's a big deal for somebody coming from Memphis. Just this past weekend in Memphis, there were 6 or 7 different shootings. Number 10. Homeschooling in New Hampshire is very deregulated, requiring no annual evaluations. There are very large homeschool groups in the state, and Jess and I have already plugged into 3 such groups, all of which are completely secular in nature. There are also 23 accredited degree-granting colleges and universities in the state. New Hampshire also ranks number 1 in the country in standardized test scores. It also was ranked number 1 for overall child well-being in 2013. And people actually wonder why I want to move my children from Arkansas to New Hampshire. Number 11. It's the home state of the annual Porcupine Freedom Festival, the famous week-long summer event with panels, speakers, and a ton of fun in the White Mountains. It's also the home of the annual Winter New Hampshire Liberty Forum, which has had people speak such as Ron Paul, Tom Woods, Judge Andrew Napolitano, and John Stossel, just to name a few. There are also a couple of fall Liberty festivals as well, the Free Coast Festival and Keenvention. And you have got to go check out the Liberty events in New Hampshire calendar on the Free State Project page. There are literally several events every single day around the state on this calendar. They have more Liberty events in a single week than the state of Arkansas has in an entire year. I have a link to the calendar in the show notes at thelavaflow.com/22. There's also a Free State Project welcome wagon that will help all new movers get their stuff moved into their new place, show them around town, help them find things they need, and just provide support in many different ways. Number 12. Hell, the state motto of the state is live free or die. If that isn't enough reason, I just don't know what is. But, isn't it cold up there? Sure, but with the fires of liberty burning bright and hot in the state, it will keep you warm, I promise. And honestly, if that's the only reason that you can come up with to not sign the pledge after the list I just gave you, I don't know what to say. Thank you for listening to the show this week. As always, I need to thank the only woman who would move cross-country with me, Jessica, for her help with this show, and Sheltered Life for allowing me to use their music. For the show notes to this episode, where I put links and other information that's been on this show, go to thelavaflow.com/22. I have a new iTunes review this week from E. Googer. Quote, "Why the profanity? An otherwise great podcast is undermined by the unnecessary and unprofessional dropping of stupid F-bombs." Well, thanks for the review, E. Googer, but I guess I just don't understand your question. I use words that are part of the English language. Now, some of those words may be considered profanity by some, but profanity is nothing more than a word that some people find offensive. The only F-bomb that I find offensive is force, and only if it's used in the phrase initiation of force. I assume this may be the word you're referring to. I find it offensive too, but unfortunately this podcast will continue to talk about force quite a bit. I hope you continue to listen. If you also find words like initiation of force, government, and authority offensive, then you too can leave me a review. I read every single review I get right on this show. Make your voice heard at thelavaflow.com/iTunes. I also need to thank Victoria for signing up for a wallet and buying at least $100 worth of Bitcoin from Coinbase using my affiliate link at thelavaflow.com/Coinbase. Both she and I got a $10 Bitcoin bonus for her using my affiliate link. Thanks, Victoria. You can get a $10 bonus as well and help support the Lava Flow by signing up at my affiliate link at thelavaflow.com/Coinbase. And finally, if you like what this show gives you and you want more of it, and to keep this show ad-free, exercise your free market muscles by going to thelavaflow.com/support and giving a per episode donation of as little as $1 an episode using Federal Reserve notes through Patreon or Bitcoin through Coinbase. There are monthly costs associated with doing this show, and I need additional equipment to continue making this show better for you every episode. I'm still sitting at 33.5%, more than 1/3 of the way towards bringing you more content. Help me get closer to my first goal by going to thelavaflow.com/support. Until next time, keep striking the root.
Thank you for listening to The Lava Flow at thelavaflow.com. Don't miss an episode. Subscribe now at thelavaflow.com/subscribe. This has been a Pax Libertas Productions podcast.